So recently I've got a package directly from the ZimaBoard team, which includes the brand new ZimaBoard 2 microcomputer. They have reached out to me directly, asking if I can make something cool with it. The package included this metal bracket, which is meant for the PCI SSD expansion board, and this huge aluminium rack, which you can use to mount two full-sized hard disk drives. Of course, it also came with the screws as well, since you will need those to put everything together. They've also included a pretty long PCI expansion cable, which you can use to connect the SSD expansion board directly to the ZimaBoard. The rack mount is pretty solid, since it's a single piece casted aluminum frame. It's quite heavy as well. Of course, the package also came with the mini DisplayPort to HDMI adapter. They've also sent me this thin cardboard box, which contains the SSD PCI expansion card and couple of aluminum side panels, also more screws. The SSD PCI card is pretty cool in itself, since you can use it to connect two SSD drives without use of the external adapters. I've left the biggest box for last, since I guess this one contains the board itself. As you can probably tell, the box is pretty heavy duty, so there's zero chance for any accidental damage during the transport. Turns out inside the box are two smaller boxes, one with the PC and second smaller one with the accessories. Let's open the accessory box first. Inside the box you can find a couple of things. The CPU fan, which is pretty much must have since the board gets really hot. The small power supply with interchangeable sockets. Couple of really small screwdrivers. Interchangeable sockets for the power supply. And of course the SATA drive cable. The main board box is definitely unique. It has that beehive pattern, which to be honest, I've never seen anyone use this. Inside the box there is a short thank you note and of course the computer itself. There are some slots on top of the box and I'm not quite sure why. Underneath the ZimaBoard you can find a short manual that will help you get started. Inside the manual you can find descriptions for all of the connectors and some pointers on how to set up the Casa OS. So now let's take a look at the computer itself. Right off the bat, I've noticed that it's pretty similar to the first version, but this time they've used a nice silver finish, which looks way more professional and high-end. On the side you can find the PCI slot, and on the rear you can find the USB connectors, Ethernet ports, power inlet and mini DisplayPort. So I've hooked everything up, and as you can see I can now boot into BIOS. This time they used a much more powerful CPU, put 16GB of RAM and upgraded the internal memory to 64GB. First I will do some performance test using Windows 10 installation. After a while I now have a fully working Windows installation and I've begun to download some of the games. As you can see, the built-in Ethernet port is pretty fast. First I've run the Portal 2 and as you can see the performance is pretty great. The ZimaBoard doesn't struggle at all and there is zero input lag. Next I've tried to play Resident Evil 7 and it struggled a bit at first, but I've changed some of the graphics settings and it runs pretty fine now. It's definitely not perfect, but keep in mind I'm using the built-in GPU. Since it handles gaming pretty well, I've decided to build a small living room PC which will act as a Windows-based home console with Steam library, emulators and media player. For this I will use the ZimaBoard and a full-sized HDD drive. This one is 2 TB. I've already designed all of the 3D printed parts and this is what it will look like. I will start the assembly by unscrewing the bottom plate of the ZimaBoard. It's being held only by 4 screws, so it's a pretty quick and effortless task. Underneath the aluminum plate you can find all of the main electronics. Right now let's focus on this connector right here. This one is for the CPU fan. I will be using the fan which they sent me, since the board gets really hot while gaming. And while I'm here, I will also connect the power button. For the power button, I will use this plastic frame on which I will place the tact switch. Of course, I will be using my custom tact switch board, which has 2 solder pads, one for each cable. The board goes directly on the plastic pillars and I will melt them from above to keep the board in place. And now I will solder 2 long Kiner wire pieces, one for each pin. Now that I have the power button ready, I can solder the wire pieces directly to the ZimaBoard. Those 2 pins on the board are dedicated for the power switch and can be safely soldered too. Now that I have both CPU fan and power switch connected, I can route all of the cables through the opening in the aluminum plate and close up whole assembly. The wiring isn't super clean, since I didn't want to cut the Kiner wires too short. As you can see, when I push the power button, the ZimaBoard starts working. So now with all of that done, let's assemble some plastic parts. I will start with the top piece, since it will hold all of the electronics. First I will thread the ZimaBoard through the plastic bridge, and next I will secure it in place using M3 screws. Of course, one of the screws has to go through the fan assembly to hold it in place in the correct spot. And now I will install the HDD. The hard disk drive goes directly underneath the ZimaBoard and attaches to the frame using the provided screws. With the HDD in place, it's now time to connect it to the ZimaBoard. I will be using the provided SATA cable, but I will cut out one end of the cable to make it fit better in my custom 3D printed case. Connecting the hard disk drive is super simple, since the ZimaBoard has dedicated SATA connectors. With all of the electronics in place, I will now assemble the mid section. First I will install the power button, which goes to the round slot on front of the case. I've installed the tact switch board directly on top of the plastic piece, and now the power button is ready to go. And finally I will close the whole assembly using the bottom plastic piece. But first I will clean up the 3D print. Okay, so I've cleaned everything up and I am now ready to install it. The bottom piece uses M3 Torx screws, which will perfectly hold all of the pieces together. Everything is now secured and ready, but I will close the screw holes using some 3D printed feet. I've decided to use hot glue to keep them in place, but I feel like double-sided tape might work just fine. After attaching the 3D printed feet, the whole assembly is now ready. I've connected the device to my secondary PC display and now it's time to turn it on. It takes a while to boot, since I'm using Windows 10 installation, so you might want to install Linux. As you can see, it boots straight into the Steam Big Picture mode and works perfectly fine with my Xbox Series S controller. Since I've got a bigger HDD now, I've tried running some bigger games. I've tried to run Helldivers 2, but as you can see, it's kinda struggling. And the same goes for the Ark Raiders, but this time however, there are some rather interesting glitches present. I've tried The Witcher 3 as well, and it looks really good, but the frame rate is horrible. Of course, less demanding games, like Dark Souls, run perfectly. The frame rate is pretty stable, and I think it hangs around 60 frames per second. And that's pretty much all for today. Thanks for watching everyone, and hope to see you in the next video. And as always, huge thanks to my patrons. See you later and goodbye.